after last week, I was thinking about the film more. The film I saw last week, which is The Space Between Us, and I actually wanted to lower the rating of that film because after thinking about it more, I was like, it's actually not that great of a movie. Compared to this, that was a 5-star cinematic masterpiece. I saw 50 Shades Darker, and I hated this movie. I really could not stand it. Like I've seen more chemistry between 2 wet paper bags from my perspective. So from I will full disclosure, I have not actually seen the first one and I have not read the books. I have a pretty decent knowledge of pop culture, so I'm aware of what they're about. My friend synopsized it really well though. She just said the first one's about a chick who gets trapped with a super rich guy and he convinces her to be his sex slave for bondage and things. Yeah. That was her summary, and I felt like that was pretty accurate. So this one picks up what seems like a week after the events of the last one. It's the whole thing. Apparently, it's a trilogy. The books are a trilogy. The movies are going to be a trilogy. They take place over like 8 weeks. Yeah. What? Come on. I know it's fiction, but let's get serious here. Let's not actually.
Well, there's not a lot of substance, if you know what I'm saying.
There was no substance whatsoever. Again, opposite of substance. It was just complete immaterial. This one picks up where the last one supposedly left off, and I guess they sort of break up at the end of the last one. And she decides that the submissive life isn't for her, and so he just decides, I'm going to change my entire life, and let's go for a, quote, vanilla and normal people relationship. And then the film just proceeds to waste 2 hours of your life. I'm not sure what the main plot was supposed to be. So this one, again, starts in the middle, and it has an incomplete ending, which granted, okay, it's the second of 3 movies, but it's not like a second film in a trilogy can't be good. And I was going to talk about, The Godfather and Star Wars, but this is nowhere near those. So let's not even insult those by talking about that. But even, Triple X Return of Xander Cage the other week had a beginning, middle, and end within the film. And that was a sequel or trilogy. But this one just does not have it. And there are all these weird side plots about how she's got this misogynist boss. And I felt like she has a misogynist boyfriend at the end of the day. He treats people like they're transactional. It's almost prostitution, it feels like. But there were some crazy exes and all these plot lines that just don't resolve either. And I'm like, okay, great. I get it. They're getting your money for another film. But if you haven't seen any of them, well, obviously you can't see this one because you have no investment in these people. I'm sorry, I don't understand how people who have seen the first one have investment in these people. I found
it's the books. That's the thing.
I'm going to have to take your word for it because I get it. It's a cultural phenomenon. People love these things. People in the theater, I couldn't tell. I think there was a split in the theater between people loving and hooting and hollering in a good way and making fun of it. And also, sidebar, there's a special circle in hell reserved for people who talk during movies. Just because I hate this movie and you are also hating this movie doesn't mean I need to hear your bad commentary during the movie of the movie.
I'm going to hell then.
Uh-oh. Remind me to never see a movie with you then, or sitting next to you. But it's not your living room. Anyway, that's my little rant about movie theater etiquette. So anyway, I felt they were so generic and boring and they had no chemistry together. And it was just sort of, a lot of gratuitous shots of the main actress's boobs and the actor's abs. And, also Kim Basinger shows up briefly. And I don't know what happened to her face, but it was scary. It turned into a horror film for a minute. She
unintentionally?
I don't know what she has been doing in the last few years, but maybe lay off the work. Yeah, but she I guess she plays, my understanding is she plays Mrs. Robinson, who is a figure in the book lore, but they don't explain that. They don't explain it. That's the thing.
Really?
They just go she's Mrs. Robinson. And I'm like, I assume this is a reference to the Dustin Hoffman film.
Yeah.
Right.
I assume it's the Graduate reference. From my understanding, this film just not only it misrepresents BDSM culture, which look, consenting adults do whatever you want in the bedroom. That's fine. That's cool. But this does not my understanding is this is not actually what that sort of culture is about. And then if you're looking at this from purely, just watching a romantic film, right? It's almost Valentine's Day. This is being marketed as a Valentine's Day film.
Yeah.
It's 2017. Can we please have a female protagonist in a romantic film whose life isn't about trying to change their partner and being this perfect relationship? She has a job and career goals, but they actually there's a line of dialogue about she's like, well, I love to work. It's anyone who actually likes working doesn't come out and say, I like to work. That's not how people with jobs talk about jobs. That's not how anybody talks about anything.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the dialogue is written by a robot. The scenes would have been better acted by robots. If you want, this is terrible, but if you want to watch a bunch of sex scenes loosely strung together with a failed attempt at a plot, please just go watch actual porn at this point.
Yeah.
Because
right.
I just,
It'd be better.
I feel like it would be better.
Get
And
popcorn with it, though.
They ruined it.
you can watch, whatever you do at home. Again, like I said,
The same kind of popcorn.
If that's the only reason you're going to go see 50 Shades Darker, just go buy a ticket, go buy the popcorn, and then leave.
Okay.
Like you'll be
I've
doing
done that
yourself a
before.
favor.
And there's probably more chemistry in porn, too.
I honestly, I believe that.
So here's the thing. You rate the films in Mohawks. I've been waiting for you to go below 2. How many Mohawks for this one?
Okay, I'm going to caveat this a little bit because I think if you love this series and love whatever, you're going to see this and you're going to enjoy it independent of anything I say, right? People were having a good time. People seemed to know what was going on in the film, even though I didn't. But if you're the rest of us, no Hawks. I am giving this 0. I wanted to walk out of the theater, but I was boxed in by people making chatty commentary on the side.
50 Shades Darker gets a 0
It gets
out
a
of
0
5
out of 5
Mohawks.
from me. I
Cool.
literally wanted to leave. It was so bad.
No Hawks.
No Hawks.
This is history.
It's a record. It's a sad record, but it had to happen sometime. So I have the Lego Batman movie, which I highly encourage everyone to see, especially over any other film out this weekend. I loved the first Lego movie. I think it's one of my favorite animated films of the last few years. It's sweet, it's cute, it's funny. It was novel at the time because nobody was expecting that to be as, successful as it was. And while I loved Lego Batman as well, I don't think I loved it as much. I think part of it comes from the fact that, like, Emmett, the protagonist in the first one, is this really cute and sweet, honest character. If you've seen it, he's like the little construction worker guy. And Lego Batman's actually in the Lego movie, but he starts off this one a little more brooding and egomaniacal, which I'm not sure if kids are going to understand. But as an adult, it was hilarious for several reasons. There are so many jokes and Batman references in this thing. And I'm not just talking about like to the Batman movies. Like, we're talking Batman lore. So if you're a film and comic nerd like me, you were just like eating it up. It was me and like a handful of people laughing at certain points. Like, you could tell who's like read the comics and who's sort of like super nerdy. I'm sure it was a bunch of like nerd dads in the theater at the time being like, ha. But yeah, it was great. There were so many in jokes, and then it gets bizarre, and all the Lego movies seem to be doing this, but they sort of integrate the other properties in the Warner Brothers and DC world. So you get to see a lot of fun cameos. So even if you aren't a huge like Batman fan, there's other things in this for you. The plot's a little bizarre, but I guess it's no more bizarre than an actual Batman movie. And the weird realization I had in the middle of the film was, if anyone saw Suicide Squad, this is what I wanted Suicide Squad to be. Like, in terms of so Suicide Squad's all about like the villains and the sort of morality, and like sometimes the bad guys are the good guys and you need them for whatever. And this is it covers that, and they even have a joke about that, which I thought was such a brilliant little like self-awareness dig. But yeah, so it's it's in terms of superhero movies, it's not that different from any regular one if you look at it closely. I really appreciate when a film is both kid friendly but also an adult when like their eyes wouldn't completely gloss over during it. So there were plenty of reasons to enjoy the film. The animation style is really cool. I still appreciate it. It's a little different than the original Lego movie one. And that one, there's all this really interesting stuff where they actually use like bricks as sort of simulation and VFX and stuff like that. And I know I'm getting really nerdy here, but it was a really impressive way to do. And just like I don't know, I'll just admit, like, I still build Legos every once in a while. Like, I'll go out and buy a Lego set and build them. So this was really fun to sort of see the more like physical real world stuff with it, because it takes place in Lego Gotham City. So anyway, it's a fun, cheesy, like light thing. If you have kids, definitely go take them and you won't regret that. And even if you don't have kids, like, I thought it was a really fun movie. So I'm going to give it 4 out of 5.
Wow, cool.